everybody and welcome to Pondcast. Today I'm going to give you an update on the tadpoles and how they've developed over the last couple of weeks, and we're also going to talk about some different species of frogs because there's a really good link there for your myths and monsters theme for your learning this week. Let's get started with some keywords like we always do. Species, similarities, differences, survival, common frog. Okay, so you can see here that since the last time we filmed, the pond has flourished even more. It has been very warm recently, and you can see that the water level there on the edge of the alga has dropped quite a lot. It is due to rain in the next couple of days though, so we don't need to worry too much about that. You can see we're still feeding our tadpoles cucumber, and they are really enjoying it. Now I'm going to see if I can get some tadpoles for you to have a look at as well. So just bear with me. There we go. Okay, what I'm going to do is just put them around here, and we can see how they have developed since we last did a Pondcast. There we go. It might be a really good idea to look back at the other Pondcast we had when we looked at tadpoles, and then you can see if there's a difference between them. Now, these tadpoles here are bigger than the last time we filmed, and that's because they have grown. And if you can see, there's a few down at the front here. They've got quite big rounded bodies now, and that's because they are growing and developing at the front of their body, and soon they will start to produce back legs ready to look a lot more like frogs. When they produce their back legs, their tails will start to shrink, and at that point they don't need their tails to swim because they've got their back legs. You might just be able to spot on a couple of them just before their tail starts. You can see there's a little grey marking starting to appear, and that's the beginning of their legs starting to come through. If we look down here, you can spot where we are on this frog, on the frog life cycle. So we're looking at this one here. We've had the frog spawn. We've seen them come out of their frog spawn and eat the jelly. We've seen them develop into the smaller tadpoles, which is what we saw last time. And then we're not quite here with their legs developing just yet. I wonder if at home you might be able to draw the picture that goes in the gap there, because that's about where we are. And we're not quite ready for froglets yet, but I will let you know. Now, I don't want to keep these tadpoles out of the pond too long because they've got no food in here, and I know that they like to be sheltered by a lot of the pondweed and things like that. So we'll just look for maybe 10 more seconds and then we will put them back in. Okay, I'll turn this around so you can see me put them back in. There we go. They've all gone back to swim. Now, I said we were going to look at species. So, this here gives us an idea of what we're looking for. The frogs in our pond are the common frogs, okay? This is a picture of a female. It looks a bit orange on here. They tend to look more browny coloured, especially camouflage within the pondweed and reed. And this is the male, so the boy frogs. This frog here is a green frog. We don't have those in our part of the country. They are from the south of England, and above that you can see toads, and I don't have any toads in my pond. So the frogs we've got are common frogs, which is one of those key words. But there's lots of species of frogs, and I am very lucky that I have a friend who works with some animals, and she sent me some pictures of a different species of frog. So on the left you can can see a common frog that I've taken a picture of in my pond at home. On the right though, you can see a different sort of frog. And this frog, well, his name is Freddy, but he is an Australian green tree frog. I'm just going to show you on the globe. This is us, the United Kingdom. You can see London there. That's an abbreviation for Manchester, so we're quite near that little dot there. And if we just work our way down and round the globe, you can see at the bottom here is Australia. And that is where Freddy, the Australian green tree frog, is from. Now, the friend who sent me the frog pictures is called Safari Hannah, and she works for Living Things UK. So even though this frog was originally from Australia, he is currently being looked after in the UK with this company. So we've said he's from Australia. Then it said he was a green tree frog. Doesn't look very green, does he? Can you think why he might look like a different colour and he might not look green? Yeah, I agree. It could be a special form of camouflage, and you're absolutely right. Freddy is incredibly clever and he can camouflage himself by changing his skin colour to blend in with his surroundings. Do you know any other animals that could do that? Yeah, you're right, chameleons. If we look over here, you can see got another picture of Freddy and a friend of his as well. And can you see how they're both green tree frogs, but look, one is green, one's a bluey colour. And that's because my friend Safari Hannah told me sometimes if they're put into one of the boxes to check they're okay, they go into a blue box and so they turn blue to camouflage with it. I wonder what else you notice about Freddy that's similar or different to our common frogs. Yeah, I agree. His eyes, he's got really big eyes. Wonder why he might have such big eyes. Some of you might think it's because he needs to look for predators. That's not quite it though, that's a good idea. It's actually because Freddy, the type of frog Freddy is a nocturnal frog. Does anybody know what nocturnal means? Yep, fantastic. If you are nocturnal, it means you are awake during the night and you are asleep during the day. So Freddy needs big eyes because his eyes have to be adjusted to looking for things in the dark. Now, I wonder if on one of these pictures some of you can spot what Freddy might be having for his dinner. Yeah, I think so. I think it might be this creature down here who unfortunately I think is becoming dinner for Freddy. There's one more thing we can learn about Freddy before we move on. Freddy is incredibly clever, and like all frogs, he breathes through his lungs. And remember, at the minute our tadpoles are breathing through their gills, so they need to be under the water because they can breathe that way. When they develop into frogs, they'll get lungs and be able to breathe air. But Freddy can actually breathe through his skin as well. And he can absorb oxygen that way. And that way they can absorb the extra oxygen. I wonder if you'd be able to find out if this is a similarity or a difference with our common frogs. Can our common frogs breathe through their skin? Maybe go and have a look and send to your year group emails to find out. Now, I found it fascinating finding out about the Australian green tree frog from my friend. So I thought you might like to have a look at different frog species as well. I've listed off some for you to get started. So I'll bring you over here with me. So, I wonder what you can find out about motorbike frogs, Brazilian gold frogs, and poison dart frogs. You can present this information any way you like. You can do a poster, you can make a leaflet, you could do a PowerPoint, you could draw a picture, you could do a mind map, you could do a fact file, and send this through to your year group email. Because we're looking at myths and monsters this week, you might also want to think about were there any frogs in myths and in other cultures? So, certainly for year 4, because I know they love the ancient Egyptians, were frogs important to the ancient Egyptians? Maybe you could find out. And then because I'd been looking at the Australian green tree frog, I looked at an Australian myth about the rainbow serpent. And there's frogs in there. Maybe you could look at why frogs are important in that myth. And finally, in fairy tales, frogs are often considered bad or ugly, or you get turned into a frog by an evil witch, or you become the frog prince. I wonder why they've been perceived as bad or ugly for all these years. Maybe you could research that and see where that comes from. It's a great way for you to learn about different elements linked to frogs. Okay. Now, just before I go, I want to say a massive thank you to Safari Hannah for sending those pictures for us, and to Living Things UK for taking such a good job caring for Freddie and the other animals that they care for. Well done to everybody at Newbie who has sent in pictures, videos, things they've been learning about. I really hope you find out some more interesting things about different species of frogs. I can't wait to see what you come up with. Send them through to your year group emails, and your teachers will be able to send them on to me. Thank you very much for watching. Bye!